Hello, if you attended our workshops where we use napkins to create our journals, I will show you 2 ways to adhere napkins to your composition book. The first way, we will glue napkins onto paper, and the second way, we will iron the napkins using freezer paper. Let's get started. Okay, so we have our 2 napkins that we're going to use for the outside cover of our book. One of the things you have to do is prep your napkin. Most napkins that you get either come 2 or 3 ply. This one is a 2 ply. So I'm going to remove one sheet of that napkin. And this one, you can always use it as a cleanup sheet later. So this one, now I'm going to smooth it out. And make sure you have only 1 ply of the napkin. I've already completed this napkin, so I'm going to set it aside. So here's my copy paper, which I'm going to use to put the napkin on. Because if you notice, if you put the napkin on, I can still see through to the book, and I can see the little white area. But if I put it on the paper, it covers that up. So let's get to gluing this napkin down. Now I'm going to be using glue sticks for this project. It makes it a whole lot less messier. So I'm going to take it a little bit at a time. And I usually start from the center, and I take my glue stick and I go out to the edges. Now here in Texas, the glue seems to dry really quickly. So I'm going to do a little bit at a time. So I'm going to line this napkin up to the top and press it down. I'm going to fold it back, and I'm going to continue gluing my paper. Try to make sure that you're getting even coverage on your sheet of paper. And I smooth the napkin down as I go along. I'm going to turn it over. And smooth it down a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to get my scissors and cut the extra napkin off from the edge of the paper. Save that scrap for later. And there we have it. Okay, there's one side. Another way to glue, to adhere the napkin to the paper, instead of using copy paper, I have my little ironing sheet, and I'm going to use freezer paper. Now with freezer paper, you want to make sure that the shiny side is up. See, there's some without the plastic on it on this side, and the shiny side has the plastic. So let me get my napkin. And then this you use an iron. And you'll iron it down. I use a medium setting, and that works pretty well for me. If you think you need to go higher, if you see that it's not adhering, then I would go up to a higher setting. Maybe like linen or cotton, and see how that works for you. The other thing on my iron, I make sure that my steam is off, in the off position. This technique does not need steam. Now with this process, I use a sheet of parchment on top of the napkin before I iron. That way it keeps the adhesive, the plastic part from your freezer paper, from sticking to your iron. So we have our napkin that we use the glue stick to put on paper. And we have the napkin that we put on freezer paper. Personally, I like the napkin ironed on the freezer paper. And that's what I'm going to use to finish this composition book. Okay, so I have 2 sheets of napkins on freezer paper, and I also, you can use that same technique for tissue paper. And this is a tissue paper I got in the gift section also at the Dollar Tree. You can find that. So I'm going to take my composition book. I'm going to take a ruler, and I'm going to take my pencil. I'm going to trace out my book. And as you see, I have like about 1 inch on each side, and I can see the napkin edge here and see the napkin edge there. Okay, and I'm going to mark where this black edge meets here and there. So now I'm going to take my ruler . Okay, so I have all my napkins prepared. 2 sheets of napkins on freezer paper, and I also ironed on some tissue paper on freezer paper as well for my inside covers of my composition. So see, that gives me enough to cover my book. So I'm going to turn this over. Make sure I have enough napkin around the edge, okay, because I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to add 1 inch to 3 sides. But first, let me go ahead and copy my composition book. I'm going to trace it, draw a line, and then I'm going to mark where the spine and the cover meets. I'm going to do it down here as well. So I'm going to take my ruler, line up those notches. Okay, and then I'm going to add 1 inch to the top . To the top, the side, and the bottom. Now I'm going to cut that out. Now that line doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to turn that onto the inside of the book. I guess that could be a little straighter. Okay. have a template, so I'm going to go ahead and use that to cut out this one as well. Let's see, do I already have an edge? Yes. I'm going to line that up. Cut some of that off. All right. Okay, I'm going to cut that little white edge off. And while I'm cutting, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the inside for this book as well. So I'm going to trace around the edge of the book. Aside, that way it's easier for me to work with. Okay, and I'll go ahead and cut this out. Now you may find it easier to trace both sides of the cover before you cut. Trim off this excess tissue paper. Okay, so I have my inside covers. Okay. And I have the outside. Okay, I think I'm ready to start gluing this together. All right, let's take out our end papers and we're going to set them to aside. I get my glue stick and I'm going to put plenty of glue on here. And I'm not going to put any on the spine area. This is the spine of the composition book. I'm going to leave that exposed, but I am going to put enough glue on the cover of the book. Now you may find that you may want to use a piece of your parchment paper or some wax paper just to put inside so you don't get glue on the pages, inside pages. Then I'm going to continue putting the glue on. I put it on pretty heavy because I want to make sure I have plenty of glue on there. Okay. Take a straight edge and try to place it on evenly. What I'm looking for is like probably about an inch on both sides. Move that. And sometimes I see that one edge is straighter than the other. So I'm going to put the straightest edge up against my spine. And let's see, I have an inch there and an inch there, so I'm doing good. I'm going to smooth that down. right, I'm going to open that cover. And I'm going to put glue in the corners. I'm going to fold that down to make a triangle. And get that real tight up against the book. And then fold that down. I'm going to do that on this corner as well. And glue the paper. Create my triangle, pull it in nice and tight. And then I'm going to glue this area. Fold that in, press it down. Now if you like, you may want to take your key card and just varnish that a little bit to make sure that you have it pressed down real good and tight onto the paper. Okay, I'm going to add some glue over here, down at the bottom. Make sure I put enough. And also here at the top. And there you go. I'm going to do the same for the back. Find my straightest edge. Make sure I have enough room on the top and the bottom. Have an overhang so I can turn it over. Press that down. And I'm going to open it up. Now I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the front. Start with my corners. Fold that in. Make my triangle. Go to the other corner. Fold that in. Fold that in. Make sure it's nice and tight on the edge of the book. And press it down. So the front and the back is covered. Now I'm going to put my end sheets in there. Line it up, make sure it fits in there. Okay. Well, before I put my end sheets in, I think I'm going to put my closure on. So we had some extra paper. What I'm going to do is show you how to make a closure, a flap. All right. Take my ruler, fold that up against there. fold that like that to make a strap. And I'm going to open this up, and I'm just going to glue on the inside. Fold that in, fold that in, and then I'm going to put some glue there. Okay, so I'm going to take my scissors and just round this off. And then sort of figure, how long do I need that strap to be? Well, that's a little hard to see. So if I put the paper on, you see that it's sort of almost coming over into the middle. I'm going to wrap it around. And then I'm going to cut like about 2 fingers. Measure about 2 fingers and cut it off a little bit longer than that. Okay, I'm going to put some glue right here. Put that in there, just like so. Make sure you put enough glue. All right, that should do it. I'm going to go ahead and start gluing. Put glue on the inside so I can put my end papers in there. Now, sometimes your glue will dry quickly, so one of the good things to try to remember to do is just take it a little bit at a time. Put enough glue down, start your end sheet, put it down, varnish it in, and continue gluing. Make sure you get enough glue on the tab. Okay, and then just press that down really well. If you see areas where it's still lifting, that just means you need to put some more glue down. Okay, that feels good. Okay, I'm going to come around and do the same to the front. Start on the inside, make sure I have enough glue down. Come over about 3 inches. Make sure you get enough glue down. There we go, that's smoothed down. Got the inside covers. Okay, I have my tab. Right, I'm gonna poke a hole in it. Use my piercing tool so I measure like in the middle. Okay, so I have this gold button. So I like the looks of that. I'm going to use that. Now for this, once I get the button on, I think I'm going to have it wrap around, the cord wrap around a couple of times, and then twist. Okay. All right, so let me see. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. That should give me enough. All right. All right, let's put some glue on the end of that. Stick that through the hole. Okay. Twist it. See if I can get all that through that hole. Sometimes it doesn't work on the first try. Put it through the button. See if I can get all the thread through there. Some more glue. Okay, so let me feed that through there. All right, now it's going to get a little tricky trying to get that back through that hole again. May have to make it a little bit larger. I need to take my pick and push that down into the hole. Okay, so I'm going to get this back through the hole. Let me try getting that through the hole. I've cut off that tip. Let's see if I can get that back through the hole. Okay, there it is. Sometimes you gotta work with it a little bit. There we go. All right, got a little tail on it. I'm gonna tie a knot and then tie another knot. Okay. So now when I wrap this string around, I can wrap it around the button and make a closure like that. Okay. All right, we have completed our napkin journal. Made closure with the inside sheets, what we call end papers. Take our long one, wrap it around, and there we go. Hope you had fun making this journal. See you for the next one.